As we talk about plate boundaries, we need to know that there are three different types of plate boundaries. The first type is convergent. We know that the word converge means to come together. So convergent plate boundaries are coming together. This little diagram here shows it. To me, I think the easiest way to remember what's going on is to learn these. Now, the plates are coming together. If we have continental crust converging with continental crust, we end up with a mountain range because they're going to converge and go up. We'll end up with a mountain range, or mountain chain, I should say. Himalaya mountains are a good example of that. We could have continental crust to oceanic crust. Now, because oceanic crust is denser than continental crust, it's going to subduct or sink underneath the continental crust. Now, one of the things that we can end up with at that subduction zone is sometimes you can end up, there can be an earthquake, sometimes there can be a volcanic mountains can result, and this is how that happens. The oceanic crust subducts under the continental, and it goes very, very deep, and it melts. And it melts and becomes magma, and then it pushes back up. And when it pushes back up, it pushes through the surface, and we have a mountain. That's how the Cascade Mountains are formed. That's how Mount St. Helens was formed. Now, we also have oceanic crust converging with oceanic crust. And when that happens, whichever oceanic crust is the densest is the one that will subduct or sink under the other oceanic crust. Now, the second type of plate boundary that we have are divergent plate boundaries. Divergent. They're moving apart. Plates move apart from each other. We can have continental crust and continental crust plates at a divergent boundary, so they're moving apart. When that happens, we end up with a big valley. We call it a rift valley. And in Africa, there's the Great Rift Valley. It's huge, and it's because continental plates were at a divergent boundary, and they were diverging, creating a rift valley. Now, if we've got oceanic crusts and oceanic crust at a boundary, and it's a divergent boundary, we're going to end up with seafloor spreading. So if it's oceanic and they're at a divergent boundary, seafloor spreading is going on. Remember, seafloor spreading occurs at mid-ocean ridges, and mid-ocean ridges are on divergent boundaries. Whoa! Few little difficulties here. Okay, the last type of boundary is the transform boundary, and that's when the plates are sliding past each other in opposite directions. They just slide past each other in opposite directions. Now, when transform boundaries move, earthquakes happen. The San Andreas Fault in California, I believe I mentioned that to you. It is a transform boundary. When there's movement there, there's an earthquake. So remember, three types of boundaries: convergent, then there's divergent, and then there's transform.